Hey guys, sorry it's been a while since we've done a video. My Moon, Mars, and Jupiter in Cancer had to retreat into our sacred space and die and be reborn. So all that has happened and we're back with a vengeance. No, not a vengeance, with total love and yeah, the desire to share. So a lot of things, when you die and become reborn, your perspective shifts, everything shifts, and you start seeing things differently. And yeah, I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. Instead of going so much into my story and my drama, I'm going to keep that for the books. I still might continue the nothing but a backpack and a baby story. Maybe I'll put it on Patreon. I do still want to continue with Patreon, even though there's only 2, maybe 3 Patreons. So, I've also been able to look at Center of Mystic Arts a little bit differently. And I have come to the realization of what actually is going on here. That can be really tricky. Is it a magic house? Is it a place of study? Is it a school? Is it a tattoo school? Is it, a tattoo studio? What exactly are we doing here? And the conclusion with my new perspective is going back to the idea of the Coma Clubhouse. This is a place to explore your inner child. We've got a master right here of the inner child. And we've got a grown-up instigator. My inner child is pretty strong and intact. I never let anything around me mess that up for myself. Being a tattoo artist, at 17, I was involved in a world of, the tattoo studios. Talk about inner child aggressiveness. But here at Coma, we explore love as a child. We explore play as a child. We explore magic as a child. Being able to let your imagination become your reality is a very childlike quality. We know from the Bible and other sources as well that to enter the gates of heaven, you must enter as a child. We know there's something to that. And it definitely takes work and exploration, because ultimately we're all trying to heal from wounds of our past, things that, affected our child brains as we're developing, that created connections with our electrical circuits in our brains that go certain places. Maybe we didn't learn how to control our emotions. Maybe we didn't learn how to pick ourselves up when we have fallen down. That self-esteem, the realization that we are all just kids on a school bus. And that's kind of how I see coma. It's like a relatively small space for a small group that wants to explore their inner child in like a clubhouse setting. This is the treehouse. And if you're invited, we can play and see what happens. And from my observation, anything can happen. The other thing I'm going to start doing is doing my cards live action. I want to talk about divination and tarot. It's become a focus, which is wonderful with the new global awakening. And I just want to talk a little bit about the science behind it. What? Science behind the tarot? The science. We are nothing but light, frequency, and vibration. We have energy that we can... The word control, I always use carefully. We lovingly control and manipulate this energy. We mold it. We can use our hands to do so. We have some cards. I love all of the different tarot decks that are available, all of the beautiful artwork, all of the different interpretations. Although I've never really been a collector of the tarot, I've always had a special deck that comes to me. That's what I read from, and I've always been kind of that one or two, you know. More than that gets kind of just too much, you know. So when I decided to read the cards through just a playing deck, it was basically because it takes all of any kind of interpretation out. Basically, you're throwing bones except a step up. You've got numbers, you've got suits, you've got kings and queens, and jokers and jacks, right? How an individual person reads the cards is where the divination comes from. So, you know, there's two different ways of divination. One is, you know, you get your deck and you read the interpretation out of the book, and that's wonderful. The other way is you use your own clear vessel to interpret symbols. Whether you're throwing bones, you're looking for the symbols and the shapes. Whether you're throwing these, I'm looking at the numbers and the suits and what they mean, and letting the divine speak through the energy of the cards. Wow, I don't want this to get too long. So, this is my dragon deck. It was given to me by a very special person, a very special coma kid. And I also have decided and been told that I'm not going to start out with any kind of plan. Where am I going with this channel? And the download was just read the cards. Become the empty vessel. And that's why I'm dropping all the story plot. Everything that's happened to me and all of my story. What? Me? That is fun. I love telling stories, and I am a storyteller. But I have died and am now reborn. And now I'm just an empty vessel sitting here with this thing. So, What do the cards... It's not really the cards that are speaking, you see. All of these cards are the same card. None of them have any meaning until you flip them over. Okay. Center, north, south, east, west. All right. In the center, what is this about? The 7 of swords. Spades, swords. This is an interesting card. The 7 is a very active, odd number. The 7 is the number of our chakras that are aligned in the middle, the number of the planets, the number of gods, 7 angels. 7 is a very mysterious, it has crossed over number. It is the number of Venus, Netzah or Netzreth in the Kabbalah. Sorry about the pronunciation. I can't even. Sorry about the horrible pronunciation. You know, I don't speak Hebrew. But this is an energy, the Venus energy. Oh, Venus. Oh, Venus. That sacred feminine with a sword. Kali comes to mind. You can use a sword to slice through karma, to separate yourself from your past, indicated by the number 7 as well, into the mystic, if you will. The sword is forged, it's made. It's a weapon of war. This is interesting because the video that I scrapped yesterday was talking a lot about the sacred feminine, Venus. And because I have such a strong relationship with Mars, Venus is my focus. And when I see Venus becoming unbalanced and embodying that the destructive side of the sacred feminine, it stirs a lot of emotions in me. So this is the center. What this is all about. So in the north, we have what is in the air, what we're thinking, what's floating around. The Queen of Wands. Okay, I mean, the Queen of Fire. The Star. comes to mind. The star is fire. The star in the tarot is a very powerful. I mean, Venus herself is known as the morning and the evening star. She is the star of the party. She's the beauty queen. Clearly, we're thinking about her. And all that she embodies, the passion, the sacred sensuality, the freedom, the fire. Oh, the fire. Oh my God, all the fire. I mean, you know, if you play with fire, literally, you will eventually get burned, you know. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? And if you're spinning fire poi, eventually something's going to happen and you're going to burn yourself. Maybe not so bad. Maybe really bad. Maybe you think it's worse than it is. But there is truth to you play with fire and you're going to get burned. But that doesn't mean you stop playing with fire. I mean, you get better and better as the more you practice, right? That is what practice is all about. So now that we know what this, we have this beautiful, sensual woman of Venus, and she's flying around with fire, and she's awakening her kundalini snakes. She's using her sacred sensuality to feed herself in whatever way, shape, or form. What's grounding her? What is keeping her grounded? What's connecting her with the earth? Because we're way up here, right? We're in the stars. What's in the earth? It's the Six of Wands. Again, with another fire. We've got air in the middle of swords and fire above and fire below. So that can get really powerful. You're talking about like a hurricane of fire going on. 6 is Tifereth. It's the Christ center. It's balance. It's a sacred number. Divisible by 3. It's the sun. You could say it was a masculine energy. I mean, these are masculine. The swords and the wands are a masculine energy. It's a pushing. It's not a holding. The sword pushes, the fire pushes. It's a kinetic energy. It's a moving energy. A transforming energy. And even with this sword in the middle, we still have Venus as the star. The sun has to ground us. We have to keep our focus on the sun. And yes, literally, like lay out and focus on the energy of the sun. Without the sun, nothing would exist. The sun is who the party is for. he is the center of the solar system. And he's pretty big. He's what grounds us, right? All right, so the East. The East is a direction that has always been holy because the sun comes up in the East. It's a direction that we pray to because it's bringing something new. The sun returns to us in the East. He sheds light on the day. We have another 7. This one's of wands. Oh, Venus again with the 7. Netza, victory, triumph. This sacred feminine rising and being balanced and being able to, because we're speaking of the feminine energy, right? We're speaking of the holding energy. We're speaking of something that can hold and sustain and grow and nurture that kind of energy. A static energy, which is needed to grow seeds, right? But again, this is with fire here. I mean, if you look at some of the forest fires, I mean, fire does actually as well, fire can pop a lot of seeds open and create, the scorched ground grows back anew and sometimes even more beautiful than before. The dragons. The dragons. The 7s. This fiery, sacred feminine coming up over the horizon and taking her power, claiming her power, becoming her power. So in the West, where the sun sets, at the end of the day, the time that I can sit in my hammock and have my cigarette and contemplate the day. Crawl in bed and surrender to the night. We have another fire. We have an 8. We have 6, 2 7s, and an 8. At the end of the day, oh my gosh, the 8 is such a moving number. 8 is associated with Mercury and Hod. Honor and glory. Hermes, Thoth. The occult and everything magical. And the passion of fire. Sexual energy, prana. I mean, who wouldn't want to crawl in bed with that, right? Mercury and Hod is also, well, with association with Thoth and Hermes, is a lot about teaching and being a teacher and sharing, which is what I am doing here. So, I really, truly hope you enjoy. I really feel like this is sustainable, that I can do this easily without too much aggravation for the rest of my existence here day by day. And please write a comment below about maybe how you interpreted the card or any kind of insights. I mean, the more comments, the more, I mean, I'm kind of slow on the replies probably, but you know, it's how we get all this shit started. So I'll put the website of Center of Mystic Arts in the link below. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. That also helps out with the algorithms and all that stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Until next time, in love and light. Ciao.